to Inspirational Transformational TV show. Amy Whitney here today with my very special guest, Cameron Donsberger. Cameron is an actor, he's an artist, and he's a man who wears his heart on his sleeve. He lives from a place of inspiration. He's following his heart, he's living his dreams, he's saying yes to every opportunity that comes his way. His story is absolutely beautiful because it comes from his heart. Grab a tissue and enjoy this beautiful piece. Cameron Donsberger, thank you so much for joining Inspirational Transformational TV show today.
I'm honored, thank you very much.
Your story is such an incredible story. I'm so thrilled to have you. Now, I guess we'll start at a pivotal point in your life.
I was getting involved with a group of people that could have taken me down a path that, I cringe to think of, where I could have gone, where my life could have gone. I could have wound up in jail, I could have been killed, I could have been seriously hurt, I could have seriously hurt someone else. And it was at that moment, it only lasted for about 3 months, and one night I was laying in bed and I was just gazing at the wall, and I suddenly had this. It was like God flipped a switch, and suddenly everything was different for me. In that instant, I suddenly realized that I had to become an actor. Like I said, it wasn't just this. Oh, I'd like to become an actor. It was this overwhelming sense of destiny that just overtook me and left me buzzing for days, weeks even. And I started going for walks at night, and I was obsessed with the moonlight, and I was obsessed with the trees, and how the light from the moon shone off the leaves of the trees. And I just remember thinking to myself, what is this? It's like I'm experiencing the earth and the world like for the first time. Yet I've been here for 20 years. But I'm now just for the first time seeing the beauty of the earth. And it was a totally foreign feeling to me at that time. And I started searching heavily for, how to become an actor, because I had no clue. I didn't even know what a monologue was, So it says, oh, well, to get into college for the performing arts, you've got to prepare a couple of monologues. What the heck's a monologue? I don't know what a monologue is. And anyway, I found this school out in Vancouver that was an acting for film and TV, full-time 6-month program called the Actors Working Academy. And my dad realized that OSAP was probably not going to be able to cut it because they don't cover stuff like that. And between him and my grandmother, they somehow managed to come up with the funds to get me out there to live and to support me at the time, because I was clearly in no position to support myself, and continued to have these experiences while I was out there studying as an actor. And I also had an experience one night where I was on the phone with my dad, and he had said that when my mom and him separated, my mother had gone to see a psychic who had said that one of her kids was going to be famous. And I remember how interesting that is, because nobody ever told me this until I was already training to become an actor. And when my dad and I overlooked the, recapped on the psychic experiences that our family has had right back to my grandmother, there has been some uncanny, profound confirmation through psychic phenomenon and stuff that would just blow your mind. And so that gave me some hope, and I think that kind of drove me. That is the one thing that's kept me going this long, until I was able to have the experiences that I now have. And so I went and I trained out there as an actor, came home, trained some more, got into a very bad relationship that I just about gave up everything when I finally did walk away from this. Went through years and years of insecurity and depression, and I tried everything I could think of to take some other path, because I just didn't have enough trust and faith anymore in my dream. And so I finally delved into spirituality, and slowly but surely I gained some of that hope and some of that faith back through experiences that I was having. And I have a friend who's actually my spiritual mentor to me, and she sat down with me one day and she said, "Today, Cameron, we're going to oil paint." I said, "Okay." I'd never done any painting before. And so I painted with her, and I did this really beautiful spiritual thing to me that I painted on this little canvas, and it was nothing serious. And you know, about a year later, I was sitting with her again and decided to paint again, and she'd had a little canvas for me that I painted with her, and I started having, about 3 years ago, this overwhelming feeling that I needed to go to the desert and experience a vision quest. So I started reading books like Carlos Castaneda. You know, that really, really intrigued me, because there's something about the whole shamanistic experience that really, really resonates with me. And so I decided that this one day I was going to paint with my friend this little interpretation of, or my interpretation of, an experience in the desert. And I loved it. And it was nothing serious, but I loved it so much that I went out and I bought this canvas 30 inches by 40 inches and painted. I just thought I was going to take this one little painting and make it big.
Right.
And it ended up becoming this, you know, this masterpiece to me that everybody that had seen it was just blown away with it. And it spoke volumes spiritually. I spent about 2 weeks on this. It was so highly detailed. I had no idea that I could paint like that. No idea. And I realized at that point that something was trying to wake me up again.
Right.
Cameron, you've got to go back. You've got to go to the desert, because that's going to lead you to the next series of teachings and wisdom that you're going to learn. And so I actually auditioned to get back into theater school, which I dropped out of.
Okay.
Back in 2001, and was accepted back in. And I decided at the last minute that no, I've got to go to the desert. This just isn't right. I'm not going back to, you know, to there. And I had this profound experience while I was out there, and experienced these beings out in the desert that are somehow, I believe, connected with. I don't want to sound flaky when I say this, but there's no. It's what I experienced. They're connected to the constellation Orion somehow, and I've been experiencing some kind of. There's some kind of an angelic being that has been communicating with me on a psychic level, and I've been experiencing that for the past 2 years now.
Amazing.
And the second time around out in the desert was when I received the inspiration that, you know, because I'd just about given up my acting completely, and was at a point in my life where I was like, okay, I am here now because I want to experience my next course of direction. Show me. If I'm not meant to be an actor, then I need to know what my path is now. I can't live like this anymore. I can't live at home. My home has become a prison. I'm not doing anything. I have no idea where to go, what step to take. I feel completely stagnant. I need help, and I need it now. I've had enough of this. And so I came home. Before I came home, I received a message from Spirit that I was to get back on the stage and to just find the love in it again. So with that, I thought, okay, that's what I'm going to do. I got delayed over at the airport in Dallas. Just happened to be sitting between this young girl who was talking to another young girl and her mother. And they were having a conversation about, you know, acting, and this girl on the left of me was explaining how she had just come back from LA and was on her way to Montreal to shoot a feature film. I was crushed. I was really hurt because I thought, whenever I've looked at my life and wondered where I'm going, tried to project and see what kind of a future I have, my acting is the only thing I see. For the longest time, that scared me because I thought, what if it doesn't happen? You know? And it's a possibility that it may not happen. At least to the extent that I would want it to. That I may not be this famous actor, but... So I thought, I spent so much time trying to run from it because I didn't trust it. I thought, you look at statistics and out there of how many people have actually made it successfully, and it's very slim. I thought, I've got to find some kind of a fallback plan. You always hear people about having a fallback plan, and I think, I just can't think of anything. I can't possibly imagine myself doing anything else. I can't. And so, when I finally came home and spent the next 2 weeks depressed and angry, in a rage, because I thought, I know that over the past 10 years, what I've experienced has proven to me, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that there is a God, that there is a conscious, spiritual energy or force that exists in all things, in every one of us, that is there listening to us and providing for us. If we just get the hell out of our own way somehow and get into the natural flow of life, that force, we wouldn't even have to search for it. It's just there providing for us all the time. And I was told to just simply find the love in it again. When I asked the question, why isn't this force helping me? Why aren't you helping me, God? Why? I know you exist. You have shown me experiences. I've even prayed and, in the past, show me your light. I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning one night because I was depressed and upset and asking God, please, I need an answer. Show me your light. And the lights in my aquarium that weren't scheduled to come on, they were on timers. They weren't scheduled to come on for about another 12 hours. Instantaneously came on. Well, I'm sure there's a scientific explanation for what made those lights come on, but that doesn't explain the variables that needed to be in place for me to wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning on that particular night, to say that prayer and have those lights coincidentally come on cue. So that being said, why isn't God helping me? And the answer that I received, very simply and very profoundly, was, Cameron, why would I give you what you don't want? And I was like, excuse me? What do you mean, what I don't want? I want to be an actor. Cameron, look at the experiences. Let's go back into your history and remember some of the experiences that you've had. Remember that student film that you auditioned for? That you judged and said you couldn't do? And it was even based on a guy that was very much interested in spirituality. The film had a very spiritual concept to it. It was just it might have been just a piddly little student film, but I judged it. I judged it because I was afraid. Afraid of failure and afraid of success. And I made up all these excuses that I didn't even realize my ego had put in place to protect me from the truth, and that was that I was afraid. Oh, I can't do this because I'm actor. Oh, I can't do this because, well, this and that, and, God knows what else I'd come up with. What about all the community theater, Cameron, that you could have done? If you really wanted to be an actor, then why aren't you acting? Do you have to be making money at it? Can't you just do it because you love it? Can you not trust that if that is what you honestly believe with such overwhelming faith and belief that that's what you're meant to be doing, then why aren't you doing it? Why are you wasting your time sending packages to agents who never respond and setting yourself up for rejection when you know that you're talented enough to go and just about get any part that you audition for in a community level? And that doesn't put, I'm not trying to sound like I'm bragging. I've been told I'm talented. I don't always believe it, but I've seen, I've seen enough evidence to suggest that yes, I must be, because I keep getting, every time I go to audition on a community level, I keep getting the part.